Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. Happy New Year and welcome to one of the best parts of our reading experience as booktubers, where we get to make a bunch of plans that may or may not manifest in the upcoming year. So for 2025, I wanted to do something that felt a little bit different, shakes up my reading a little bit from what it's been over the past 5 years of having a channel. And one of the things that you may have noticed if you've been around for a long time, or that you need to know about me if you're new here today, is that I tend to read a lot of backlist. So I don't read a lot of new releases. I don't read books when they first come out. Like so rarely, so rarely do I read them when they first come out. So what I decided, what I felt like, what the vibe was coming at me at the end of 2024 for 2025 was the idea of fresh. So fresh is my word of the year. And along with that, I decided I wanted some fresh reads. So this project is my Fresh Reads project. And what it is for me is it is a chance to prioritize reading new releases, which is not something I have ever done. And there's a few reasons for that. One of the main reasons I haven't prioritized it in the past is because I read a lot from my library. And if you're familiar, if you're a library user, you know that new releases are often harder to get because everybody wants to read them. So the wait lists for these books is longer. And being someone who is not really driven by trends or FOMO around missing out on new releases, I have just not entered myself into these long queues waiting for these books to be available. But I thought for this year, I'm just gonna give it a try, and I'm just gonna put myself down when I want to read a book, and if I have to wait a while, I will. The only thing about that is that it can affect my reading list and how I approach my TBRs, because I do make monthly TBR videos. And so I prefer to have the book available to me at the beginning of the month as opposed to waiting 3 weeks, etc. Now, if I plan strategically around putting these books on hold, maybe this won't be an issue. I don't tend to do that, and it can be very surprising when books come due when you put them on hold, but I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna play around with that this year. The other thing that this is connected to, this reading project for me, is my library for later shelf. So my library software system has the ability for you to save a list of books that you'd like to read. And I've been doing this for years, and it's over 400 books, this list. What I was noticing over the last couple years is that some of the books that I've left on there too long have stopped being available. And so, or I've put them on the list and I don't even remember why. And so I want to get that list dwindled down this year. So that's part of my Fresh Reads quest, is that I don't want to leave books languishing on this list for too long so that I A, forget why I put them on there, B, they become unavailable because they're removed from the library catalog, or C, I just stare at these books and it gets further and further away from the publication date. So I have created a list of some books that I saw on some recommendation videos for upcoming new releases in 2025. And I've also decided that I have a little caveat to this list. I'm going to aim for 2025 releases, 1 per month at least. But if the book that I really want is not available, if the library hold line is too long and I can't get my hands on it in time, I have given myself permission to substitute 2024 or 2023 releases into there. And this is going to help me to get that list down and to read newer books. So releases, from 2025 to 2023, that are sitting on my list and not getting read. So I've given myself permission each month to substitute a 2024 or 2023 one in if the 2025 is not coming up as quickly as I hoped. Okay, so I don't really want to talk you through the plots of these books and everything like that, because that would make this video very, very long. But I did just want to let you know that I went through and I came up with a basic list of 7 books that I saw in these videos that sounded really interesting to me, some of which I've already gone and they are on order at my library and put them on my for later shelf so that I remember them. These books are going to be kind of a go-to list if some of the other books that I'm planning to read in time don't come, or I just need some flexibility on the books. I don't want to be really rigid on which books I'm reading when. So I want to just have these books in my sense, like they're there. I can go back to that list whatever month I need to. But I have kind of mapped out a bit of a list for myself so that I can, keep it in mind as I'm making my monthly TBRs. So I had put 3 books onto my list for January this month, and they were all 2024 releases. And when I went to go to my library catalog, they were all out, and all of them would have meant holds that would go past January. So already I had to dip into my previous list. So for this, I chose a 2023 release that's been on my list. That is Landscapes by Christine Lay. And I'm really excited to read this one. I saw it on Sean Breath's Books channel. He did a mystery guest with Christine Lay, and I was really intrigued by the book. And so I'm looking forward very much to reading that one. So that'll be my fresh read for January. In February, I am going to pick a book from the Women's Prize for Nonfiction list, whatever that may be. So who knows? I don't know what it'll be. I believe that's when the list is announced. So I will pick a book off of that. This is also as a caveat, this is also a great chance for me to participate a bit more in the reading prize things, and just to read at least something on the list. I'm not going to read a whole list. That's just not realistic for my reading life. But I do find it fun to participate and to have read 1 or 2 of the books on the list. For March, I'm going to pick from the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. So any book that I can get my hands on that I find interesting. It's not just a matter of reading a book on the list, but a book on the list that I find, is a book for me. I'm not just going to pick it for the sake of picking it. For April, I'm going to read something from the International Booker shortlist. I believe that will be out in April. You can correct me if I'm wrong about all these dates. I just kind of tried to deduce based on previous years when these lists might be available. If they're not, I will go back to my other list if necessary. In May, I'd like to read something from the Stella Prize shortlist. The Stella Prize is an Australian literary prize. In June, I would like to pick something from Canada Reads. So Canada Reads actually happens in March, but I wanted to go for Women's Prize for Nonfiction. So I'm going to let Canada Reads play out, pick something from the top. I think there's usually 5 books in Canada Reads. So I'll pick from one of those competitions. In July, I would like to pick something from the Booker long list. In August, I've slated this to be one of the 7 books that I've listed. For September, I'd like to pick something from the Governor General's Award, actually, the winner of the nonfiction, I believe is what I chose there. I don't think it's the general list. I think it's the nonfiction prize, because the prizes for the Governor General of Canada's literary awards are announced in September, I believe. For October, I'm going to pick something from my list of 7, or something from the previous months that I didn't get to. In November, I want to pick something from the Goodreads Choice Awards, or the Goodreads Awards, the Goodreads lists that come out. So whichever one I want, historical fiction, nonfiction, memoir, like whichever category I want to read one from, I will do that. And then for December, I kind of left it blank. I thought I would either pick from that, sevens list, or pick from one of the previous things that I didn't get to earlier in the year. So I just wanted to leave it kind of open. But that is my general idea of what I would like to do this year with my Fresh Reads project. I'm hoping that this is going to be a really fun and, it'll just freshen up things in my reading a little bit. I'm still going to read from backlist. I'm still going to try to tackle some of the old books that are on that list and get them down. I think I might do some triad chapters and etc. from these just to get it down. I would love to get that number down from over 400 to maybe 300 this year. Just eliminating some books. And it's a list that continues to grow and evolve as I find new books I want to read. But it's also a list that I feel like can get out of hand. And I just feel like a couple hundred would be more manageable for me than it is right now. It just feels completely overwhelming and not possible to execute for me. Okay, so I'm just going to run you through the books that I found over a few videos on BookTube. That I think are interesting and that I want to try out. The first one is Old Soul by Susan Barker. This is a US release. The next one's called Follow Me to Africa by Penny Ha. The next one's called The Rules of Fortune by Danielle Prescod, which is also the US. The New Internationals by David Wright Falade. The Resistance Painter by Kath Jonathan. I believe this is a Canadian release. I Cheerfully Refuse by Leif Enger. So those are the 7 books that I have put onto this list. I will be talking about them more as I read them. They are new releases. I believe all of them are coming out earlier in the year. This is nothing later on as far as I can remember. And they all just appealed to me for different reasons, and they'll be showing up here. They'll be moving around depending on how this project plays out. So that is my Fresh Reads project for 2025. Thank you very much for watching. I would love to hear if you have a reading project that you are endeavoring to begin at this very optimistic beginning of 2025. As always happens, you never know what the year will unfold for you in your life, and therefore what your reading will manifest into. But I'm just excited to try to read some more new releases this year and see how that goes for me. See if I like it, see if I get a lot of gems that I enjoy, or perhaps I'm reading books that would have been better to wait a little bit. I don't usually like the hype of new books, but I'm going to try it out this year and see if I do like it in the end. So thank you so much for watching, and I will be back again soon with another video.